What's up, everybody? Jimmy Faluca reporting here with Frank, and on behalf of Frank and myself, we would like to wish everyone a happy Easter. Happy Easter, Frank.
Yes, happy Easter.
I hope everyone enjoys watching
whatever.
Yep, enjoys whatever you're doing for this weekend, regardless of your faith. Hope you enjoy it. Frank, Wrestlemania has passed us by. What did you think?
We survived, and we actually got a pretty good show from top to bottom. It was pretty good the way they produced it and presented it, and I think overall that was probably one of the better WrestleManias.
In a while, yes, it has. I think it ranks right up there with the top manias we've had in a while. I mean, personally, I had very low expectations for this year's WrestleMania, and it turned out to be pretty damn good. Frank, I think that's what I got to do from now on. I got to come in with low expectations. Maybe I'll enjoy it more.
Well, no, but that's what you was because of the build-up. The build-up was very slow.
Regardless of how good that WrestleMania was, the build-up was garbage. Sorry, I have to say it for what it is. You only need to have two functioning eyeballs to see that the build-up to this WrestleMania was very questionable, to say the least.
Yeah, I think if you would have asked anybody in the beginning of March, and you would have told them this is going to be one of the better WrestleManias ever, you would have got laughed at.
Yeah, absolutely, especially from the two of us. But let's check out this card from top to bottom. The pre-show, we had the tag team title match, which I thought was really damn good. I thought the Usos brought it. I thought that Cesaro and Kid, they just continue to show why they belong with those tag straps. They're just, to me, they're so underrated as far as talent. I don't care what Vince says about Cesaro. The guy should be in a better position than what he is. To me, Cesaro is a victim of bad booking. And I enjoyed the tag match, Frank. What about you? Did you see the pre-show?
Actually, I missed it, but I heard that one of the Usos had a sprained ankle or was hurt.
He had a hurt shoulder. One of the Usos had a bad shoulder.
Yeah, so he was out of action early in the match. They put him out.
Yeah, and Los Jabadores, I could give a damn about them.
The who?
The Matadors, whatever the hell they're called these days.
But
please.
Yeah, as far as guys like Cesaro, if talented guys like that, if they're not gonna go far in singles or they're gonna get improperly booked, put them in a tag team. Use them,
At least he's doing something compared to what he was doing 6 months ago.
Guys like that who have talent, you have to get something out of that talent.
Absolutely. There's one thing I hate is wasted talent. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, we got the Mizdow turning on Miz deal. However, the Big Show ended up winning. Now, do you consider that a plus or a negative? See, because I'll be honest, I'm kind of on the fence with that because I feel Big Show should have won the first one. The first Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, especially considering how Cesaro ended up getting booked. I felt Big Show gained nothing by winning this match. And in all honesty, to me, it just put a damper on the whole Battle Royal. I mean, the two guys, the three guys that got the biggest reactions in that Battle Royal in sequential order was Sandow, Ryback, and Hideo Itami, and I would have been happy with any of those three guys winning. Big Show.
Yeah, you know what? I think this Battle Royal, this WrestleMania Battle Royal that they have now, it doesn't really mean too much. It's just
which is a shame because it could mean so much more.
It's just an excuse to get guys, fit in all the guys, put them in there, give them a little WrestleMania moment. But
I got you.
I guess Big Show deserves it because he's always gotten screwed at WrestleMania, so he finally got his win at WrestleMania.
I guess if you look at it from that perspective, it's fair to say that. Apparently, I've heard rumors Big Show's retiring this year, which if that's the case, Godspeed, big man. Thanks for entertaining us since 94, 95. We all appreciate it. It's not easy.
He's been around a long time.
Yes, he
I
has.
remember watching him when he first came to WCW, and
he was a good big man. He was a good big man.
What's that?
He was a good big man, for a guy his size.
I think he's one of the best big men of all time.
Absolutely. He's definitely in the...
You go back to YouTube, the Giant in WCW, when he first came out, the guy was doing drop kicks.
Yes, he was.
The guy was incredible. He was ridiculous.
And I know we don't have time to go through all his matches, but I feel Big Show's best match, if I had to pick one match that just showcased how great Big Show can be in the ring, it's a tie between his match with Triple H at New Year's Revolution, whatever it was called, in 2006, and his stretcher match with Brock Lesnar from 2003 at Judgment Day. Both those matches, to me, are awesome, and I could watch them.
The same match when they broke the ring?
No, the stretcher match was a completely different match. It was a completely different match. But it was great. If you have the network, anyone that has the network out there, go and watch Judgment Day 2003 and watch the main event. Big Show and Brock delivered.
That's an all-time moment, though, when Lesnar...
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now,
I don't think that was planned. I think they really happened.
God only knows. Ladder match for the Intercontinental title. I enjoyed the match for what it was. I enjoyed that the last two guys on the ladder was Ziggler and Bryan, and I don't care if this comes off as selfish. I'm glad that Daniel Bryan won. For the simple fact that he can beat Evolution all in one night, but he's going to lose in a match to a bunch of guys that most of them have no business being in the ring with him at WrestleMania, considering how over he is, or was. I mean, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that his popularity has died down. I guess WWE won that battle, Frank.
Well, look, I've been saying it for over a year. If as popular as he is, he has to have a belt on his waist. So if you're not going to go all the way with him, you have to give him the Intercontinental belt.
Well,
it solves so many problems. The fans are happy.
But it hasn't solved the Roman Reigns problem. They're still booing him.
Yeah, but I'm saying if Bryan with the belt, if it keeps the fans happy and he could have great matches. Become a
Monday was an example of that.
Yeah, exactly. And then when he loses, he can be ready to challenge for the belt, saying he never won.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Frank. I have no faith whatsoever that they're ever going to put the world title back on him. I think they are dead set against it for whatever reason. I really don't care what their reasons are. You can't say injuries is the reason, because Cena's been injured God knows how many times and has been put right back in the title picture. I lost count of how many guys came back from injury, won the Rumble, and won the title. So injuries isn't a reason. Size, Shawn Michaels beat The Undertaker and Kevin Nash and Psycho Sid. I rest my case with that. The look, if the look was what mattered, guys like the Warlord and the British Bulldog would have been multimillionaires because of their look. Look doesn't mean shit. You have to, at the end of the day, like the shirt I'm wearing right now, Austin 316, you have to connect with the audience. It's that simple. You could be the best wrestler in the world, have 1,000 different moves, but if the crowd sits on their hands when you come out, those 1,000 moves don't mean shit. Right or wrong, Frank?
Oh, exactly. Like I said, he could get at least an 8 to 10 month run, at least until Royal Rumble, or after Royal Rumble, or until next Mania, and hold that championship and have just tremendous classic matches with.
And he can do that. The guy's proven that he can deliver.
Oh, he will. It's just a matter of booking.
And I really appreciated your post the other day that for anyone that's a doubter of Daniel Bryan, you better just forget it at this point. Because the guy, I know this may be a stretch for some, Frank, but to me, he's one in a million.
Well, what was that all about? That was after he won, he got congratulated by 5 Hall of Fame legends. I mean, when's the last
and
time
it didn't feel forced like it does with Cena, did it?
Right, I'm saying, when's the last time 5 legends congratulated somebody for winning the IC belt?
No, I can't remember.
And then what were they telling him? They were telling him to bring that belt back to its rightful prestige.
Well, that's if the booking team doesn't get bored and decide that Bryan can afford to lose because he's holding a belt. But moving on, the match that followed the Intercontinental title match. Oh my God, I should know this. What was the next match? Oh, it was Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. My only issue with this match, Frank, was that we got the payoff 2 weeks earlier when Orton beat the shit out of him.
Well, yeah,
but the match was still good. The match was still good.
You still didn't know what was going to happen. I thought Randy Orton should have won.
The second Orton won, I knew Rollins was cashing in. Because they've kept him...
That came out of left field.
To me, something told me if this guy loses clean to Orton, he's going to cash in, and Orton is going to be officially the number 1 contender, because then Orton could turn around and say, hey, you may have won the belt, but I beat you, so I'm the number 1 contender, and hence, what's the main event of Extreme Rules? Rollins versus Orton for the belt.
And also, Orton still has never got his rematch from last year.
Yeah, but WWE and continuity don't go well together, so of the match itself I thought was good. I loved the finish. The curb stomp into the RKO, amazing finish. What did you think, Frank?
Well, that shows you just Rollins' athleticism is out of this world.
And Orton is... Listen, we may have been shitting on Orton last year, but for having his 1000th match with Cena, because nobody has any desire to see those two fight again, except maybe one or two people. But Orton is an amazing worker. To me, he is infinitely better than John Cena in terms of a worker and in terms of a character, in terms of growth. The Orton's been through so many different character changes in the last 10 years, it's incredible. Whereas Cena, he's always the same.
Right, I think Orton is best when he's a tweener, when he's a face.
Absolutely.
He's a ruthless face.
The guy is good. Next, surprisingly, very early in the card, we got, to me, what was the best match of the night, Triple H versus Sting. My only issue with the match was that Sting lost. I felt that the match from start to finish was flawless. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed the run-ins by D-Generation X and the NWO. I didn't think that the match needed those run-ins because they were doing fine. Sting proved he could still go. I remember you and I were discussing during our last show that Sting and Taker have to have good showings if you're going to have any chance of seeing that match next year. And I think Sting did his part. Sting showed he could still go.
Sting, as long as you put Sting in with somebody who's good, who could carry the match.
Yeah, but I think Sting held his own. The guy was doing great.
Yeah, no, he still has some left to the tank. He got in good shape. He wrestled without a shirt. A lot of people don't like to see him in a shirt.
No, not at all. I don't either, and I love Sting. Sting's my second favorite of all time. I do not want to see him wrestle in a t-shirt.
Yeah. I mean, he's not as muscular as he was, but he's 56.
No, but he was in good shape for WrestleMania, and you could see as he was entering the arena, he was soaking it in, man. And to me, it just felt like he belonged at WrestleMania. What did you think of the match?
I liked the match. It was just like the way I pictured it. It was slow paced. They told the story. And it's not like I said. It's not like he lost. He got squashed. He got the sweet chin music by Shawn Michaels. He got hit with the sledgehammer. And then I think that at the end that was like out of character. Triple H shook his hand, and there was he kind of gave him the stamp of approval to the crowd.
No, that's a good interpretation of it. I hope we have not seen the last of Sting, but we'll get into that later. The next match, I believe, was the Divas match.
I didn't watch it, but...
I believe it was the Divas match. This match was nothing to brag about. It felt like a match I could have seen on Raw. The Bellas lost, as they should have. I did not give two shits less about this match.
Yeah, and also, I guess that something happened. I guess that AJ retired yesterday.
Yes, as of this moment, AJ Lee has retired from pro wrestling. We don't know what the situation is. There are rumors that she could be possibly pregnant with Mr. Brooks's child. There's been rumors that that injuries just piled up and that she just didn't want to deal with it anymore. Nobody knows. The only one that knows why AJ left is AJ Lee and CM Punk.
Yeah. And I thought it was an eventual once she married CM Punk. I thought it was any time it was going to happen because I don't know. There's just bad blood between CM Punk and WWE.
Absolutely, and it's a shame because I would have loved to have seen CM Punk wrestle. But if the guy was genuinely unhappy, who am I to tell him that he has to stay? And the same goes with AJ Lee. So, on behalf of Frank and myself, we both wish AJ the best in her life.
And you can put yourself in that situation. If you and your wife are working at the same place and you leave with bad blood, I mean, how are they going to treat her?
Of course. That's a given. That's a given.
And plus, I think she finally got fed up with all the CM Punk chants.
I don't blame her. The next match we had was Cena versus Rusev. The match wasn't bad. The match was actually good. My only problem is it was a typical Cena finish. Everyone was talking about Bryan and Cena bringing back prestige to the mid-card titles, at the same time, I was also saying to myself, do you really need a big name to do that? Because, okay, when Bret Hart won the Intercontinental Championship, was he really considered to be a big name? No. He was coming out of the tag team division, and he made the belt feel important because he had title defense after title defense after title defense successfully. Same thing with Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect wasn't considered a legend until he had retired in '95, the first time. He was considered a great Intercontinental Champion because the guy defended the belt on a daily basis and never lost until the day he actually dropped the belt. That's how it's supposed to be. Steve Austin, as Intercontinental Champion, was great because the guy never really, first of all, he never technically ever lost the Intercontinental title. The first time it was stripped away from him, and the second time he surrendered it because he wanted to fight for the WWF Championship. I could go on of how a great Intercontinental Champion is booked. It's very simple. He wins. Same with the United States Championship. With the best of 5 series matches with Benoit and Booker T back in the WCW days. Not the WWE days, the WCW days. That belt felt important because of how much effort was put into it. The story that was behind it. You haven't had that with the mid-card titles. I knew there was no doubt in anyone's mind that Cena was winning, but one thing I must touch on, Frank, WrestleMania 31, to me, was proof positive that John Cena, the character, is a failure. And the reason I say he's a failure is you had him up against the evil Russian sympathizer, and the fans were still cheering John Cena sucks. And I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says, and this ended up being a 100 comment thing on my page for whatever reason, because I said, I don't care how much money he makes, John Cena sucks. And I can say that he sucks because there has never been another face of the company who has been consistently booed for almost 10 years. When you're a babyface and the fans don't universally love you and you're the number one guy, that's failure. I gotta call it for what it is, Frank. It's.
I mean, look, let's look at it. They showed a promo
past presidents and the troops and the bald eagle, and he was still getting booed. That's garbage.
There was even a Let's Go Russia chant. I mean, imagine back in the day you had Sergeant Slaughter versus the
Iron Sheik. The fans weren't chanting "Let's go Iran"; they were going for Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah, imagine this fans chanting Iran #1.
I would just love to know when it became okay for the number one guy in the company, who is a babyface, to get booed. Why is it okay? Because you have no competition and you don't have to care what your audience thinks? Use your friggin' brains. I'm going to use another example. I'm going to use 2 examples. Rock and Austin are the perfect examples that when you listen to your fans, good things happen. Vince McMahon wanted 2 things in '97. He wanted Stone Cold as the ultimate villain and Rocky Maivia as the ultimate hero. Now, Frank, explain to our audience why neither one of those things happened.
Very good. I didn't hear you said what?
Vince McMahon in 1997 wanted 2 things. He wanted Rocky Maivia to be the number one good guy, and he wanted Steve Austin to be the number one bad guy. Please explain to our audience, because if it comes from me, that some people won't take it seriously. Please explain to our audience why neither one of those things happened.
Because of the same reaction. The Rock got booed unmercifully, and Austin got shit like no other.
Wait a minute, Frank, so you're telling me the audience's reaction actually mattered?
I think it should always matter. If I could understand maybe like one town, one show, like let's say like this Monday's crowd. All right, that you say, all right,
yeah,
so, the crowd. It's a smart city.
I cannot stand that term for the simple fact that.
City. I mean, but if it keeps going on and on,
you can't ignore it. Like, you know what's funny? Triple H made a statement in his podcast with Austin that the Rumble reacted the way they did because it was a heel town. Was Daniel Bryan portraying a heel at the 2015 Royal Rumble, or was he a babyface?
Exactly. But
no legs to stand on. So all you guys, and I'm going to call you for what yous are, I don't care if you don't watch the show anymore, you idiots that use the term mark or smart to describe fans are idiots. And I can say that you're idiots because the same people like you who use the term IWC are on the internet talking about wrestling. So you're proving yourself to be imbeciles by using that language and trying to demonize fans who don't agree with you or the company. The reason this shirt, Austin 316, sold the way that it did was because the fans wanted Austin as the hero. They didn't want him as the villain like Vince wanted. It's simple. You listen to your fans. Cena won as you.
When guys like Triple H and Chris Jericho come out and say, "Oh no, don't listen to the crowd. Roman Reigns is gets cheered over," they're acting like the show. Like they're acting like they're part of it to promote it and to make to keep it going. So if they come out and say, "Yeah, the fans hate Roman Reigns," then it's over.
It is over, and I feel bad for Roman Reigns because he's a victim of just bad booking. They wanted to book him like he was better than everybody else when the fact of the matter is he couldn't lick Bryan, Ziggler, or Ambrose's boots. But back to the original thing, Cena won as he always does at WrestleMania unless he's fighting Dwayne Johnson, and Cena sucks. That's where I stand on that. What about you?
And I think it's important now. We'll see where Rusev goes after this.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much dead in the water now that he lost, especially to a guy like Cena who really didn't benefit from beating Rusev. Now, a guy like Ryback would have benefited, a guy like Ambrose would have benefited, a guy like Ziggler would have benefited, but all those guys were in multi-man matches. Made no sense. Next, we had Undertaker and Bray Wyatt. This is a match I was nervous, very nervous for, because I didn't know what kind of shape Undertaker was going to be in, because last year I was expecting a bloodbath with Brock Lesnar. You used that term, bloodbath, and what we got was atrocious. Undertaker showed up this year to fight. He showed up this year to prove that last year was what it was, the match, not the result. He showed up to face Bray Wyatt in a match and proved last year was a fluke. Taker got hurt in the first 20 seconds of his match with Lesnar, Frank. That's why the match was so horrible. The match was so horrible because of, how it went. And our viewers who are listening right now understand that. So, to me, The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt had a very good match. I really enjoyed it. What about you?
Oh, they told the story. I think the one thing I was kind of disappointed was the entrances because it was still daylight out. Mm-hmm.
But that's something that the wrestlers couldn't control, nor could the company, for that matter. But I understand where you're coming from.
Undertaker still showed he has at least one more match left in the tank. Bray Wyatt did good.
Bray Wyatt was wrestling on a sprained ankle.
Yeah, they say he hurt his ankle.
And I'll tell you what, though, Bray showed to me that he belongs at WrestleMania. I really don't care. This is another thing. It goes back to Bryan. I don't care what some of these naysayers say about Bray Wyatt. To me, Bray Wyatt has proven, not just to myself, but to all of you, he can go in there with the best and prove he belongs. The guy wrestled on a bad ankle. The day he actually got injured was the day of the show, and he was a monster. The spot in the match that'll be on all the videos, on all the packages that you see about WrestleMania 31 is a spot that I called, and I'm very proud to say that because I had so many people message me saying, "Jimmy, it happened." Bray Wyatt did the spider walk, and the Undertaker sat up, and they made eye contact. That's called psychology, my friends.
Yes, it tells a story. It tells a story,
It did tell a story, and Taker showed he could still take a beating. Because he took abuse in that match with the big moves that Wyatt was doing. I mean, that arm lock Uranagi slam, the splashing Taker with his back, the Sister Abigail. I mean, every bump Taker took, I kind of cringed.
Especially the flying shoulder block.
Yes, he took that like a champion. And let me tell you something. Undertaker and Sting both had very good matches this year. And I've got my finger.
I would say their matches were at least a B. No worse than a B.
No worse, absolutely. The main event, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. To me, what that match proved was that the WWE cannot control who the fans cheer for. Because what I think happened was Roman Reigns proved to me he could take an ass kicking. I give him that. He can take an ass kicking. And I loved that he was laughing at Lesnar as he was taking the beating. Because he kept coming back for more. He was like, you could keep beating, I ain't going away. That I liked. But what ended up happening in this match was Brock became the most over guy in the company for doing what he was doing to Reigns. And I don't know about you, and I hate Brock Lesnar the person. I still hate his ass for breaking the streak. I think he should have flat out refused. My stance on that has not changed. However, from a performance standpoint, Brock Lesnar showed he belongs in the main event of WrestleMania. That guy was a complete animal. And he was just suplexing Reigns all over that ring. And he won a lot of fans over. He won a lot of fans over, Frank. That cannot be denied.
He's a legit guy, man. And he is. How could you not like Brock Lesnar? Like, he's the character. He's awesome. The guy is just a wrecking machine.
And Heyman, when you add Heyman to the equation, it's a win-win. Because Heyman's just gold. Heyman's gold on that mic.
He's been booked as like an ass-kicking guy. And, that's Lesnar. You could just see the difference, man. It's like a man versus a boy. And that's not taking away from Reigns. I think Reigns is going to get there soon, He's going to get there. He's got it in him. He's going to get there.
No, he does have it in him. No one's ever denied that.
He's going to get there. I mean, let's look at his last two matches. He had a very good match with Daniel Bryan.
Yes, he did.
And he had a very, very good match with Brock Lesnar.
But you also have to take into
two pay-per-views, and he had a very, very good match.
But you also have to take into account the two people he was working with, because if you put Roman Reigns in the same ring with Kane or The Big Show or John Cena, the match isn't going to be that great. It isn't going to be as good as the matches you're going to get out of Lesnar and Bryan for the
just like with Bray Wyatt. You have to put these young, up-and-coming guys.
Yeah, but see, Bray Wyatt, to me, he's the best all-around guy that they have in terms of being able to talk, being able to work, and having a character. There's nobody better than Bray Wyatt, in my opinion, right now. In the WWE, not counting NXT, to me, there is nobody better than Bray Wyatt as far as having all three of the intangibles.
Maybe Seth Rollins.
Maybe Rollins, because Rollins can talk, he can work, and his character is just a prick heel.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job of it. But
yes, he has.
You have to put these young, up-and-coming guys against the best in
yes, you do.
Situations, and that's the only way they're going to get better.
Yeah, the only way you improve is if you go up against someone better than you. It's the only way you can get better until you reach that peak.
Win-win. Bray Wyatt, Undertaker, it's a win-win. Undertaker wins. Now people are interested to see him again next year. Bray Wyatt wins because he stood up against the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And he had the torch passed to him. Yep, absolutely.
Same thing with Reigns. Even though he didn't win, but still, he proved.
Now the cash-in, did that catch you off guard?
Yeah. I was getting mad at the end because I actually thought Reigns was going to pull it off.
Because that would have been bad if after taking that ass kicking that he just hit a couple of punches and a spear, and that would have been it. I would have been pissed because
he gave him 3 Superman punches
in a row, and then he hit him with 2 spears back to back.
But that's another win-win. You avoid Reigns beating Lesnar. Reigns doesn't lose, and Seth Rollins comes out as the champ. So.
Well, I see what they did at WrestleMania was this. They called an audible because they knew Roman Reigns was not over in that building.
Yeah, according to online reports, they determined that about a half an hour before the match.
But Frank, the dirt sheets are never right. I mean, it's not like they predicted Undertaker and Bray Wyatt 4 months ago. I mean, it's not like they predicted Rusev versus Cena 4 months ago. These dirt sheets are never right.
It's not that they're stamped in blood, but they have some credence to them.
Yes, they do. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is Frank and I's review of WrestleMania, and we will be back in our next segment.